And so, some of you may have heard this story in class. I'll give a little bit of a different, but it was a turning point in my life. And you'll see why I chose it. The year was 1994. And in the throes of an alcoholic binge, my ex-husband decided he was going to remodel our house, the interior of our house, and a jackhammer was involved. And needless to say, the result was a disaster. And not only was my ex-husband impacted by the ism of alcohol, but also was experiencing the ism of spending. And so we were behind on bills, and one of those was our mortgage. And about a week after the jackhammer experience, I discovered that my ex-husband was having an affair. And so with 3-year-old twins in hand, we moved in with my parents. And to this day, I am filled with deep appreciation for the openness, the love, and the support that they were able to give us at that time in my life. And so my plan was live with my parents, the boys and I, to live with my parents until I was able to save enough money to purchase a new car, which I was in desperate need of, and to also build a nest egg, have some money to put down on a new mortgage for a place for the boys and I, and then have some money aside for, what they call a rainy day. Well, about a year into living with my parents, for various reasons, which I will not get into, I was stirred with the desire, the urge for us to have our own place. And so one day I shared this desire with my parents, and I, out of their concern, expressing as fear, they began to share with me all the reasons I wouldn't be successful, how I couldn't make it, and that it wasn't really prudent not to have money aside, and they wouldn't be there to help me, so on and so on and so on. And when you have your own fears and self-doubts, and you're around somebody who is filled with that, you can either choose to have that energize and have an anxiety party with maybe a couple of shots. No, I don't advise that. Or you can choose again. And at the time, I was newly discovering about the power of affirmations. I didn't know about unity then, but I had read Louise Hay's book, The Power is Within You. And I started to learn about the power of your thoughts and how affirmations, declaring the I am, can break through self-limiting beliefs and doubts. And so I began affirming, I am a courageous, powerful, prosperous woman capable of providing for my family. And all through the day, when I would remember, I would say it, but especially as fear and doubt would creep in. And about 4 months after me having that conversation with my parents, the boys and I moved into a rental condo in Raintree, which is located in Freehold, New Jersey. Fast forward from that point a couple of years, and I discovered for the first time the new thought teachings of unity about, not just about affirmations, but about the power of affirmative prayer. And ever since then, affirmative prayer has been a powerful tool in my life. It is a tool that empowers me to remember the truth of who I am. Yes, I am having a human experience, but it doesn't escape that I am always one with the one, and therefore I am imbued with divine abilities or spiritual powers, capabilities. And despite the impermanence in the world, experiencing disease, when I had surgeries, a few surgeries, and it was frightening and scary, but nevertheless, I knew that my courage and strength and my ability to hold compassion and nurturance for myself was greater. And I could affirm it despite what was going on. So many countless times, the use of affirmative prayer empowered me to remember the truth of my divine nature, and not just provided me with comfort, but allowed me to be that which I wanted, despite self-limiting beliefs and doubts in my life. Now, through the years, my understanding of affirmative prayer has evolved. And that would be only natural because as I deepen my spiritual growth and desire to be transformed from within in consciousness, my understanding of my human nature, my divine nature, the nature of God, oneness, the principle of oneness, has evolved because I began to open more and more to that. And also, very impactful teachers, and specifically from Unity, have been very empowering to me. The teachings and books, from the Fillmores and, authors like Reverend Paul Hasselbeck, and have been very impactful in that evolution. But one such individual has really impacted me tremendously. And that person is Reverend Linda Martella-Whitsitt. And she's pictured here on the screen. She is newly retired from being the VP of Silent Unity, which used to be the 24/7 prayer ministry, praying for all people, internationally. And now the hours have moved from 7 a.m. Eastern Time to 1 a.m. Eastern Time. So she published, she's always had this passion around affirmative prayer. And so one of her first books about prayer was published in 2011, and it is entitled How to Pray Without Talking to God. And I actually had a book study. Anybody remember that book study years ago that we had here at Unity? And just a few months ago, I was so thrilled after attending a workshop about a year ago. Reverend Linda's new book, Discovering Your Divinity, A Modern Guide to Affirmative Prayer, was released. And it is co-authored by one of my dear friends who was in the FP program, field program with me when I was getting ready to be ordained. And she's a co-author, and her name is Reverend Deanne Morrissey. And so as I am reading this, and as I have attended her workshop, I am finding that I am opening to new awareness. And so I ask you to come on that journey, no matter where you are in your journey. If you're new to understanding affirmative prayer, if you already know about affirmative prayer, I ask you to be open to some of the teachings and the journey we will be taking. And I am so excited to announce that Reverend Linda Martella-Whitsitt will be here at Unity by the Shore, March 23rd and 24th. March 23rd, she's doing a workshop, How to Pray with Others. It's open to others, and there's more information at the end of the service. And then on the 24th rather, she's doing the Sunday service. So mark your calendar. She is incredible energy. She is grounded in Unity's teachings, and she exhibits divine has another title of her book, Divine Audacity. And so what is the reasoning behind another prayer book? We have the richness of the Fillmores, even though the language may be a little difficult because it's, the text is from the mid to late 1800s. And she's already has a prayer book. But some of her passion is this. Yes, one, it's available to all audiences because she knows, both of the authors know, Deanne and Linda know all too powerful how affirmative prayer was impactful in their life and healing them and deeply empowering them in ways that they couldn't imagine. And so it's open to all audiences. But they specifically wanted to be another book for the Unity community to bring clarity and evolution to our understanding about affirmative prayer. And she says, this book, first and foremost, for our Unity community, that we may clarify and strengthen our collective understanding of affirmative prayer. Years of teaching affirmative prayer has convinced us that confusion about prayer exists within the Unity communities. The Unity movement was founded on prayer, the power of agreement and affirming truth. Yet within Unity, a variety of prayer methods are used, some grounded in Unity teachings, other derivatives of other new thought communities, and some derivatives from other faith traditions and denominations. There is nothing wrong with praying in whatever way we pray. I'm going to say that again. I'm not here to be the prayer police. There is nothing wrong with praying in whatever way we pray. However, Unity has a rich and powerful history with a very specific, impactful form of affirmative prayer. And so in knowing, in Unity's roots, that, they would have a Sunday gathering where people would go out to the various faith traditions and then come back, right, for 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And so we know that we are open to all different faiths. And the richness of learning and understanding about all is embraced and accepted. But the whole purpose of this is for you to dive in and to really understand the purity, so to speak, of the power of affirmative prayer. And so what happens, as we go through life, right, it's been heard that we have made God in our image. Well, we're powerful, so God must be 10 times more powerful. And so we come up with this man in the sky that's got more power than we do, right? And so we know that we view God is mystery, but is substance, and is the substance under all life, but not a being in the sky. And again, you can believe whatever you choose to, but also with having the openness of everybody coming, the affirmative prayer model has kind of incorporated many different things. And so she wants to bring to the awareness using language that's not maybe from Charles and Myrtle's day in the late 1800s, but into a universal language and understanding, but is still grounded in Unity's teachings and legacy. And so that is the purpose of why they wrote this book at this time. And they reconceptualize the model of affirmative prayer. And so we will be looking at that. And it, as I said, it employs updated language, and it is reflective not only of Unity's evolving consciousness. And so, like anything new that is different than what people are accustomed to, resistance can occur. Chemicalization is another word for resistance. And I like to use that model. It's like when our belief system is introduced with a new idea that kind of is like, are you crazy? Are you telling me to do something different? Are you telling me I'm doing something wrong? What do you mean? So just know that we all have a BS, a belief system. This is what I get from one of my other favorite teachers, Paul Hasselbeck, which comes from model of, to try to bring into Emily Cady's understanding of chemicalization. So we all have our belief system. And next to our belief system is that adjacent possible. Those new ideas like, oh, I am open to that. That makes sense. Like the first time I'm like, oh, my thoughts impact my experiences. Oh, I'm open to that. And you get those little bumps when you're on a truth, right? And then there were times when, I was bashing my ex-husband because I didn't, I was wanting to go to graduate school, and if he would only give me more money, I didn't really want to know that my thoughts was creating my experience in that moment, and it wasn't about him. So that was what we call, at the moment, the non-adjacent, not possible, right? Well, so then I bring it back to knowing where I am. So know, as you are experiencing this, are you feeling discomfort? Do you want to throw it away? Are you not open it? Forget it. And you could do whatever you want. I'm just telling you, of somebody who has employed it and has had some powerful experiences with it, and myself is willing to evolve with it. I'm asking you to be open to it as well. And so during this series that we are going to be taking leading up to her visit, in which she will talk about praying with others, which we're not going to cover, and some other things, we're going to look at today just a review, what affirmative prayer is and what it is not. We're going to re-explore the principle of oneness and mind action, the nature of God, our divine identity. All of those things need to be understood from a certain level to allow the affirmative prayer to flow from the model that she offers. And I will be sharing that model in the closing prayer today. And we will talk about affirmation and negation. Who notices a new word? Lindy. Denial, right? That's the evolving language. Why? A lot of people get confused with denial. I am in a state of denial, right? And so within the unity prayer model, we are not denying any facts that are occurring in our human experience, but we're negating that they have power over us. So that's where that language comes from. And then affirmative prayer model, which I spoke of. So for today, let us look at what affirmative is. First, by looking at two of the founding, teachers. First of all and foremost, co-founder Charles Fillmore. Prayer is more than supplication. It is an affirmation of truth that eternally exists, but which has not yet come into consciousness. It comes into consciousness not by supplication, asking for, begging for, pleading for, but affirming, declaring it is so. And then from Eric Butterworth, from The Universe is Calling. The true affirmation is, I am. This was the key to Jesus' power, his affirmation and realization of the I am. And we heard the I am, we heard it was like, oh, he's it, we're not. No, we're not we're not the same expressing it as Jesus, but all the power that Jesus had and all the other divine masters we are imbued with. Not I want to be, not I hope to be, I will someday be, someday, or please God, make it so, or dear Lord, make me to be, but simply I am. What are you noticing? It's okay, whatever you're noticing in yourself. Excited, I know that, newness, anything? Know that, okay, good. So it's a nice review. So what are the distinguishing features? Rather than supplicating and asking, we declare, we claim the truth of us, what the God as principle, and we will go there in a moment. And we refer to the divine not as a thing, as a deity out there, but as perfect principles. And it highlights oneness, not separation. God and, I'm here, God's there, but there's oneness with all that is. And it is a model that moves beyond just comforting, although comforting is really good. It is a call to action. I am going to be that which I declare. So it is an empowering model. And so here are some of the things, again, this is just laying some groundwork. Some people, this may be something you're aware of, and for other people, this may be new. So what it is, consciously disengaging from false and self-limiting beliefs, that would be the negation. Not that those things don't exist, but that you can choose otherwise. Realizing, declaring the spiritual truth about ourselves and the condition we are praying about, being still with knowing that God is, and I'm going to come back to that, and letting that reality be felt so clearly that we can realize and declare the spiritual truth of any situation. God is. Not out there, yes, it's all around, but having that realization of oneness, knowing it is right here. And surrendering in the sense of releasing our human-centric perspective and yielding to our divine identity. This is in contrast to what we may hear, and again, this is not right or wrong, but this is what makes affirmative prayer different. We are not surrendering to a God out there. It's not I let go and I let God out there. Again, take a deep breath for all of you who love, it is not right or wrong. It is oneness. I am one with the one. And what God is the principle of love. And I am love in this moment, expressing powerfully. I am wisdom in this moment. I am one with the one. I have seen in praying with others, and even in myself, some people who've had a dis-ease for a while and went from one doctor to another doctor to another doctor to another doctor, feeling discouraged. But what they had powerful for is what they were going to energize. And I added the visualization of them doing things that they loved. And I could hear that shift from hopelessness to possibility. What are you noticing about any of them? Good. And what it is not. So I want to go back to familiarity. Yes, this is familiar to me as well, and we're going to move into some of the new stuff because you need to lay a groundwork. But how many of you know that God is not out there, but your prayers still reflect that? Be honest. Okay, sometimes. And there's nothing wrong with talking. That's what I'm saying, right? So it's about living into it, yeah. And so, absolutely. And even you can know it, and that's a wonderful thing because then you're starting from a powerful place. So yeah. Can yeah. So, yeah. Right. Right. So Lindy is sharing, and we're going to, if anybody else shares, I just want to get the mic for people on there because I have a good memory, but sometimes I don't get it all. Wait a minute. I have an impeccable memory and I'm wise beyond measure. So Lindy said she knows this truth. She believes this truth, and yet she finds her words are not in congruence. Would that be a good Summary? Excellent. Okay. So what it is not, it's not manipulating or coercing people or events to bring about some personally desired change. It's not attempting to reach God. God is already here, always present and accessible. It's persuading God to change his or her mind or suspend universal laws on our behalf. Lots of times, you'll see this come into play. They're predicting a hurricane or tornado. And I'll hear people, from this community, other New Thought communities, let us pray that God stops the hurricane. No, I'm not kidding. I get what it's about. And I'm just bringing up examples for us to look and see. That's it. So nature is about balance, cause and effect, and it's doing it. It's not because we're being punished, but it's trying to right something in the natural world. So maybe affirming protection and safety. I am protection and safety in the midst. You see the difference, right? Putting our own willingness into changing a condition, like it's all about our willpower, surrendering or handling the situation over to an external force. That's what we just talked about. Denying that a person is experiencing sickness, illness, and suffering exists in the human experience. I really want to pause on that. I think unity has evolved. When I first came in and I had a headache or something like that, don't say that. Don't say that. Your thoughts create your reality. Okay, well, if I went around all freaking day complaining, right? But we don't deny that I have a headache, but then I get to choose, what am I going to affirm? My healing and my wholeness, right? Because I have seen in different spiritual groups where people have left a group who was experiencing cancer because they felt guilty that their thoughts created their experience. And I was so saddened. I wasn't part of that group, but they shared it with me. And then I didn't, anyway, they stopped coming. I've seen that countless time. And even one of the trainers of the chaplain years ago within the Unity movement had gotten scratched by a cat, and it turned into an infection. You're knowing that, right? And it turned into infection, and this person was very sick, Leilani. And there were people in her community that were like, oh, I thought you knew all about prayer. What were you holding in consciousness? Yes. So we have evolved, right? We have evolved. And 7, disallowing other forms of healing, such as medicine, surgery, psychiatry, diet, and so on. Just because we use the powerful tool of affirmative prayer, but it doesn't mean we're not open to other divine ideas that are expressing in the healing modality world, including modern medicine. We can be polarized with that as well. And so, my friends, as we come to a close, I thank you for those of you who this was a review, but I wanted us to have a grounding place because people are coming from different, points of knowing as we move forward to see what might be new. What are you willing to try? What is it that you're desiring to do? So what I'm going to, and it's my hope that you deepen your affirmative prayer experience and realizing its power in your life. And so I am going to end today with sharing the new model. So the model that was relaxation, 5 steps: relaxation, concentration, meditation, realization, and appreciation. And so the updated flow model is, I am open, right? I know I'm experiencing this thing, but I am open. God is, and we're going to name the principle God is that we are declaring. And then I am. And then it is I can, I have, I know. And then it is I appreciate. Now, this is just an introduction. We're going to move there, okay? So I invite you to close your eyes. Well, wait, sorry. Before you do so, to experience this model, you identify the condition and then the purpose. So how many of you have had some discord with someone? Okay? All right? So the condition is whatever. I'm in conflict with so-and-so. My brother gets on my last nerve. My mother doesn't speak to me. That's the condition. Now, the purpose is not about changing God or changing anything else, but the purpose is to declare the truth and to be that truth in that moment, right? So in conflict, we are seeking what? Harmony, right? We are seeking to return to the truth of, and in this case would be our power of love, which is the unifying power of knowing the truth of who we are and allowing our thoughts, our words, and actions to be so. And it is that deep place of appreciation and understanding where we can recognize the truth of all. So that is the purpose. So I want you to think of someone that you would like to have more harmony with, or for you to experience harmony within you, claiming that, despite how this individual is showing up. Everybody got one? So in this prayer, when I say the dear one, that's I don't know everybody's names, so that's what I'm referring to. You can put their name in as I do it. And so let us take a deep breath as the music begins to play, and you gently close your eyes. Sensing your body. And opening to relaxation as each breath emanates in and out of your nostrils, as you open your mind and your heart to the truth that we are seeking. And I will affirm the I am because we are one here. And so as I relax my body, I open my mind to the truth. I open my heart to the wondrous light that is within me and all around me. And breathing in and breathing out, I am in a state of expectancy, ready to receive my good. God is the perfect principle of love. God is the perfect principle of love. And I recognize love that is everywhere present, harmonizing and unifying all that there is. That love is present. For God is, I am. God is, I am. God is the perfect principle of love, and I am the principle of love expressing right here and now. I am the embodiment of love. I know that I am one with the one power that is perfect love, that is infinite compassion is what I am. For I am one with the one. And this truth is the truth about the dear one that I hold in light. That my dear one, despite appearances, is one with the one and is divine, perfect love. I am the living expression of love and compassion. And my dear one, at the core of their essence is the perfect expression of love and compassion. And so I know I can, I have, and I know love. For as I am love, I can see love, be love, receive love. And in the state of the light of love, the consciousness of love, all resentments naturally fall away, and compassion rules my understanding. Oh, I see this dear one as divine. I see myself and know myself as divine. Our connection is clear, a living expression of love and compassion. I am love, and I see myself as this when I am with this person. Oh, I say yes to anchoring love, for love will guide how I speak and what I say, and how I will show up. And I allow compassion to be my true north in all interactions with this dear one. Let there be no obstacles to love. And breathing in and knowing this truth, I appreciate, oh, how grateful I am for this deeper awareness of who I am and who my dear one is. And I appreciate and give thanks for love as my identity and the identity of the dear one I hold. We are forever one in the light of love. We are forever one in the light of love. Affirm that with me. We are forever one as the light of love, and so it is. Amen. Taking that deep breath in and out, in and out. Sensing that love in your heart, filling your thoughts, caressing your body, and most importantly, knowing that it is who you are. And when you are ready, I invite you to open your eyes as we give thanks to the perfect expression of light and love that is all around us and the truth of who we are. And so I, again, invite you on this journey. For those of you who are very grounded already in affirmative prayer, I thank you because you can support others on this journey as well, but I also invite you to some of the open things that you might glean that might be a little different. And so I wish you a blessed week, and may you know the power of affirmative prayer. Namaste.